All right, all right, all right. What's going on, good people? Welcome to another 45 minutes of purpose, Street Talk edition here at 45th Street Baptist Church. It's great to come to you all once again from the quote unquote cyber sanctuary or the cyber service, and where we're doing all of this virtual interaction. Look, tonight is going to be a great conversation, kind of as we continue the fatherhood or the shades of fatherhood series. And we had an awesome conversation last week with a few dynamic fathers. And so I'm honored to, I guess, kind of host or facilitate this week's conversation with some dynamic fathers once again. And so I'm gonna let them introduce themselves real quick. And so I've got three amazing men who are really ideal, I think, men who are models and who just do amazing work in the community and beyond. And so that being said, I'll let them introduce themselves real quick. So brothers, if you could just give, of course, your name and how long you have been a father, because guess what? Tonight, it doesn't matter what your position is. It doesn't matter who all knows you. It doesn't matter what your reputation is. Tonight, it's about how long and how good, or quote unquote good, you have been in this fatherhood game. All right, that's what it's about tonight. So introduce yourselves real quick and tell everybody how long you've been a father, and then we'll kind of jump into our conversation tonight. So I'll swing it to Deacon Alvin Langham. You can go first, bro.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alvin Langham. I have been a father now for 10 years. I got 10-year-old twin boys and a 9-year-old son.
Awesome. Go ahead, Danny.
Hello, everyone. My name is Danny Carr. I've been a father 22 years. My daughter, I'm proud to say that my daughter will be graduating from Auburn University in about 6 weeks. So I'm a proud father.
Nice. Congratulations on that. Dada.
Yeah, so my name is David Dada, and I've been a father for 3 years. My son is 3 years old.
Awesome. Good to have you tonight, brother. And last but not least, my name is Anthony Sparks, and I have been a father for 8 years now. And so it's good to have each of you. I love the fact that we're kind of all over the map. Danny is clearly the LeBron James in this thing. He is he has the most experience under his belt, and then Alvin with 10 years, kind of entering that prime, so to speak. And me and Dada kind of bringing up the rear. I'm getting into my prime, so to speak, but and then Dada is just starting out, kind of, sort of. But y'all know, we know. Look, when it comes to parenting and fatherhood specifically, man, once you in it, you in it. Right. So yeah, so you just get immersed quickly. So tonight, you all, we just want to have just a frank, candid, open conversation, and we just want to share some of our experience, talk through a few things, and hopefully, I'm sure it'll be a fun conversation. I hope it'll be informative and also entertaining for you all who are listening. It's just a way for us to come together, just celebrating fatherhood and just talking about some of our experiences. And so that's what it's all about tonight. So that being said, and if you got questions, for those of you watching and listening, if you got questions, feel free to enter them in the chat wherever you are. And of course, if we got time, we'll definitely get to them and answer them as best as we can. All right. So that being said, let's jump into it. First question I just wanted to ask you all, and we're just gonna kind of get right to it. Two-part question. What was the scariest thing about becoming a father? And what is the scariest thing about being a father now? What was the scariest thing about being a father when you found out, or when the baby was birthed? What was the scariest thing about that time? And now that you've been in it for a few years, what's the scariest thing about being a father currently for you? Go ahead, Dada. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I was gonna defer to Danny because he is the LeBron, bro. He's like, I'm trying to learn. So seriously, Danny, I pay homage, brother. You go ahead.
All right. Well, I'll go first. I appreciate that. I'll tell you, the scariest thing initially was that, honestly, you know, I was a college student, and I didn't have a job. I was just trying to get through college. I thought I was a good athlete, so I figured I would go pro. That didn't happen. So now I'm faced with about to have a daughter, and being a young man with no job. Fortunately, I had great family support. I was able to stay in school and finish school, but at the same time, I just didn't know what to expect. And you know, my role may have been a little different because at the time, you know, being a college student, obviously I wasn't married or anything, and but her mother and I, we were really close. We were both college students actually, and so it was kind of a whirlwind because I was young, so I was full of energy, and you know, I probably had more energy than my daughter when she was born. But at the same time, I didn't know exactly what to do and what to expect, so I had to defer to my parents and to my mom, and to my grandmother because, you know, I understood, and I didn't have that much pride like some fathers may have and say, "Look, it's my child. I know what I'm doing." I deferred to a woman who raised me as a single parent in a tough neighborhood, and I knew she knew what to do and how to do it. So I deferred to her, but I made sure that, you know, I was there, that I was present, and that I wanted my daughter to have the life even better than mine. And I did everything I could to make sure that I set that example. So I was just afraid because I was just so young and didn't know what to expect and what to do.
That's big. That's big. And so I'm sure all of us can relate to that. What would you say now, 22 years later, 2020, you're about to have a college graduate on your hands. What's the scariest thing about fatherhood right now for you?
The scariest thing right now, honestly, is that she's a young lady in this world. And for what I do on a daily basis and the things that I see that don't make the news every day, I have to talk to her. I have to hear from her. You know, I have to have her location on the phone because I think I overthink things now. Because sometimes when you see the things that I see and you see the assaults on women of her age, and you see, you know, some of the date drug rape cases, and you see what happened on college campuses, you know, and you're not physically able to be there all the time. So you hope that everything you imparted and you still in her when she was young, that she's carrying it on now. But I can tell you, with having a college student in this day and time, it's difficult. And each and every day I pray for her, and each and every day, you know, I just ask the Lord to give her the knowledge and the wisdom that I didn't even have, that hopefully she make great decisions and she hang around the right people, and that she's able to be prosperous later on.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you for sharing that. Dada, what about you, brother? Scariest thing about becoming a father, and then what's scariest thing now?
So it's funny, I think, and maybe this is because I guess my son is only 3, but it's kind of different variations of the same fear. Like I remember when they brought him in, bro, I remember he was born and the nurse brought him into the room, and I'll never forget, bro. Like I was sitting there and it was beautiful, right? But then I remember when the nurse left, I was like, "Oh, you're leaving?" You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, it's like we're just supposed to be here, like just us now. So like, you know, and I remember like, man, I did not sleep. Like I was just watching him, like, cause I wanted to make sure he was like, you know, breathing and everything. And then he was born a month early. So he was for a week. So we stayed at the hospital for a week and he was fine. He just, you know, he had to get his breathing under control. So I remember like just watching him and like really, you know, my mom had to tell me like babies have been living for a long, like it's okay. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I remember that, like having to get through that. And then now it's kind of like, again, because he's young and he's a toddler, he loves to run around, stuff like that. So it's like kind of keeping him safe. Like, you know, now that's why I said it's different variations of the same thing. Like just a few weeks ago, we were out by like a friend's house who has a pool and I can't swim. So like I got home and I was like, I gotta learn how to swim because I literally feel like I can protect him from most things. But I was like, this is an instance where I felt helpless because my wife can swim. So I shouldn't have, you know, I wasn't being realistic. But I'm thinking like, man, this is a thing that like I can't save him if something were to happen. You know, but I knew I would jump in there. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's almost a different variation of the same fear. But like really, like Danny said, having to trust God, man, really seeing like God ultimately, like it's like he's my child, but really he belongs to God, right? You know, God, I have to trust him with that.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff, man. Thank you for sharing that. I'm gonna say real quick. I need you to not perpetuate the stereotype that Black folks can't swim. I need you to do better. But I gotta raise my hand too on that one. That's me too. So we in that same boat together.
Well, me too. Me too.
Okay. All
Me
right.
too.
So we ain't on no island, figuratively or literally. All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you for that, man. All right, Alvin, what about you, bro? Scariest thing about becoming and scariest thing currently about being a father for you?
Yeah, the scariest thing for me was that, I had a set of twins coming, and I was afraid of, just making sure that I would raise them equally, treat them as individuals, but raise them equally as well. Treat them in a way in which they don't know that, you've got to kind of modulate things slightly differently in order to accommodate their personality, but at the same time, make sure they adhere to the same rules. And trying to shield them as much as I could from comparison, because people can be cruel. And, they'll be quick to point out one twin's differences over the other. And that can be intimidating. It can make one twin feel self-confident of his brother. So that was probably the scariest thing for me. The scariest thing currently is that, where they are in this stage of life, just making sure I can continue to guide them as or guide them properly as they make this next step. They've got the twins have 1 year of elementary school left, and then they're going to middle school. And that's going to be a whole different world for them. They're going to face peer pressure that they don't see right now. And I just want to make sure I guide them, give them the right advice, and just continue to teach them in a way that they're going to navigate this world, safely in the best way they can.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you for that, man. I'm gonna say real quick for me, I'm just gonna throw mine out there. Scariest thing about becoming, and you all have kind of said this in so many ways. For me, scariest thing was that just plain and simple, my son didn't come with an instruction manual. Technically, right. I know we say the Bible is life's instruction manual, and of course it is, but when it just comes to the day-to-day, like, okay, how do I do this, or when do I do that? Just having learned that on the fly, that OJT, on the job training that we got, that was nervous. I had some nervous energy around that. So that was the scariest thing about becoming. And the scariest thing now about being a father, and I think a lot of us, if not all of us, can relate to this, and that is with what's going on right now with our young African-American people, but specifically our men, young men. That's tough. I'm raising 2, but our oldest is 8. And last summer he decided he wanted to kind of grow his hair out a little bit, and cool, fine. And so it made him look a lot older than he is. But I was just thinking about how, I know Aiden, and everybody who knows Aiden knows, sweet kid, man, wouldn't hurt a fly, respectful, etc. And just to know that somebody out there may not see him the same way just because of his appearance, that really bothers me. And so we try to do our best to make sure he stays a child and stays in this phase of just being able to be a kid, but at the same time balancing having to tell him the realities of life right now. And we had to have that conversation actually, because he saw what happened to George Floyd, and he wondered, matter of fact, he said, so the guy was doing bad, and so the police did that to him. And I had to explain, like, no, some police are actually bad, and it blew his world. He just could not believe that, and so that's what kind of makes me nervous or scary in a sense right now, knowing that he's kind of coming up in this period where a lot is happening like that, and it's hard to really find an answer for it because it just really upsets their apple cart, so to speak. So. So that's that, man. Thank y'all for sharing that. That was good stuff, and it was. I think it's all stuff that we can relate to. Something else I want to ask, and just for the y'all know we got about 30 minutes left. It's 45 minutes. We want to make sure that we stay within the time frame. And so that being said, I don't want to necessarily muzzle us, but just try to keep your answers, or let's try to keep our answers a little bit more condensed, because we want to get in everything that we can to benefit everybody who's listening in to the call. All right. So next question I wanted to ask you guys is just plain and simple. Where do you think you learned how to be a father? Like when you thought about, okay, this is the type of dad I'm going to be, or I want to be like this. who was kind of your blueprint or your model, if anybody? And it can be, it can be somebody that, of course, that's known or that or it can be, a public figure. But I just kind of want to know, where do you feel like you got your parenting skills from? Let's go Alvin first on that one.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I learned a lot about being a great parent from my mother. My father was there, but he wasn't a model parent. So from a man's perspective, his older brother was actually my mentor. And so I learned a lot from him. At the time, his son, our oldest cousin, my first cousin, I spent a lot of time around them. And, I actually joined, that's what baptized at my uncle's church. He's a pastor there. So I spent a lot of time around my cousin. So I got to see him as a father. And later in life, some of my good friends, they got great fathers. So I learned a lot about being a father from them.
Wow. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you. All right, Dada.
Well, yeah, man, honestly, my dad has been great. Like, I'm very grateful for him. So I can say, like, he's been a model for me. Also, I'm a sponge, man. I try to be. That's why I wasn't just joking when I was like, I defer to Danny. I'm listening to all y'all. Like, cause I watch things other dads do all the time. Like, just lessons they've learned. So I try to be a sponge, man. But my dad is like human figure, like he's number one. But again, I'm always watching.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Good point.
Well, anybody who knows me know where I'm going with this, and I'm a mama's boy through and through. And I say it proudly as a man. Without my mom, I wouldn't be the man I am today. And being a single parent, she raised me as a man, raised me to be a man, raised me to take care of my responsibilities. But at the same time, she provided what she needed to provide for me. So I learned that from my mother, and I'm forever grateful. But I had family members, obviously, uncles and granddads, but my mom was uno number one.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And I love that you learned how to be a father from your mother's example. That's huge, man. That's a testament to her parenting.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Good stuff. I'm kind of like you, Danny, when you said anybody who knows me knows I'm gonna go with my response. I'm kind of like what Dada said. I soak up a lot and I see a lot. But for me, the main two were actually my dad. Of course, I learned a lot from him, and I'm still learning a lot from him, and also my uncle, Cedric Sparks. I modeled a lot of, or I modeled a lot of what I do as a dad after them, because I think they kind of marry, their styles marry in a unique way, and I'm able to get the benefit from seeing both of them in action to pass it on to my kids. So yeah, I'd say that. All right, good deal. We got a question from a viewer or a listener, and I think this one is aimed at me, Danny, and Dada, and that is, can we promise by next year this time that we will have taken swimming lessons?
I wonder who that question came from. I can almost guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think you can.
Can I say this, and y'all will find it strange, but I'm actually sitting next to a pool right now and I can't swim, by the way. Just FYI. So if you hear a splash, somebody come save me, please.
Yeah. I can make this promise. I can make the promise that my kids will have had some lessons. I can promise that. That's as far as I'm gonna go right now. I need to do better, but I'm gonna at least make sure my kids are better positioned than I am.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
There we go. Good stuff. All right. So something else I wanted to ask you all, because I think one of the most beautiful things about becoming a parent is that while you're teaching lessons and you're modeling and you're providing example and all this, that, and the other, while you're teaching, I've actually found that you actually learn a whole lot too in the process. And so that being said, what have you learned about yourself since becoming a father? And we'll go to Danny first on that one.
I've learned patience. I've learned a lot of patience. And honestly, I've learned to kind of be a little more even tempered and kind of take a step back sometime and just digest everything around me. Because sometimes when you're in that whirlwind and you just want to get your day going and you're in your day to day and you want to take care of your job requirements, you want to take care of everything you have to take for yourself and make sure that you take care of your family and your kids too. But at the same time, I've learned a lot just sitting back, soaking things in, and just making sure that each and every moment I enjoy it, because none of it is guaranteed. But at the same time, I enjoy every moment of the fact that I am a father and that the good Lord blessed me with a beautiful daughter. And it's just a blessing, to even learn from her sometimes.
Amen. 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 Good stuff. Good stuff. Alvin, to you, brother.
I'll say that I learned two things. I have to go with Mr. Carr there and saying I learned patience also. They might not think I'm patient with them, but trust me, when they start bickering, I'm a lot more patient than they can imagine. So I've learned that. And I've also definitely learned the importance of presence. I am divorced, so my kids don't live here. They don't even live in town here. They live about 4 hours away, south of Birmingham. And I've learned that it's really important to them that you're around as much as possible. Those are the things that I've learned.
Good deal. Good deal. Thank you for that. It's good stuff. Dada.
I learned, man, not to take things so serious. Like, I think, like, in my day-to-day at work, like, I try to be really, like, task-oriented. Like, I want to be focused. Like, almost like Danny said, I come in with my to-do list, things I want to get done by this time of the day. And I realize, like, y'all know, being a dad, that just doesn't work. That just doesn't. Like, this. You can have all the plans in the world, but it just is going, So, and I think the better I've learned that when I just, like, am willing to let that be and just kind of, like, not be so serious, it's a lot better. Because I don't want my son to remember me just always being like this, you know what I'm
saying? Yeah.
Like, so yeah, I'm learning, I'm still on that journey, trying not to take things so serious.
Absolutely. Man, that's great. I want to throw this. I think this is a great question that we just got. I want to make sure that we get to it. Can you be a good father without being a good person?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's heavy. That's heavy.
I was first last time. I went on Alvin and Dada to come first,
All right. Well, I think Dada is up.
All right.
Okay.
Well, yeah. I would say probably like not the best father you can be. Like, I would say no. Like, and the reason being because I've learned something. I remember reading a couple years ago, and I'll be brief. It said it was a devotional about marriage, and it said, as husbands, you and fathers, you set the tone emotionally of your home. I was like, I don't think that's. At first, I was like, man, that's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm pretty even keel. How do I set the tone? And I asked my wife, and she was like, no, I agree with that. And I was like, really? So it was one of those like. So again, a lot of the things where I might be quick to get mad or something, I realized like it wasn't something that my son did. It's like, man, there's something going on in me that I need to get checked. You know what I'm saying? I need to like go like calm down. I'm probably already stressed. I was predisposed to get angry. Like, so I need to really check my own emotions, and it helps me be a better father. Not perfect, but just better. So I think like we gotta like, we gotta take care of ourselves too. Like, I know for me that looks like my devotional, like things are just a lot more calm because I wake up before everybody else. That time with the Lord in the morning, like just helps me be better for the rest of the day. So I would say, it's hard to be a good father without being a good person.
Yeah, I love that response, man. And I think, and of course we can probably find some people who would split some hairs and say that it is possible. And I'm sure we can find ways to say that. But I think I fall on the side of you can have good moments, but I don't think you can be a consistently good father if you're not a good person. And that's just simply because, who you are is going to come through. Who you are is going to shine through. Good, bad, ugly, whatever, that it's going to come out. And so I feel like you can play a role only for so long, and at some point, who you really are is going to seep through, and it's going to affect, your children in this context. And so, I think you can have good moments, but I don't think you can be a truly good father without being a good person. So that's just my kind of off the cuff, just kind of thinking, off the dome answer. I think that's where I would side on that. Alvin or Danny, y'all want to take a stab at that?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you and say something very similar, I think, if your definition of good father is being a good provider, a disciplinarian and teaching, you can think you can do that, but sooner or later, they're going to find you out. And like you say, your true colors are going to shine through, and you know, you're not going to be a real father. You'll fake it.
Yeah, you know, briefly, I would just say that, you know, who you set the tone. And my granddad used to always say, you know, you can only be who a child can only be what they see and what they're exposed to. And what they see every day in your actions and who you are and your personality and how you deal with people and how you set the tone kind of sets the standard for them to achieve. And I think sometimes parents take for granted that they do certain things around their kids, or they can talk a certain way, or do this around their kids, but still be that disciplinarian and think that they're doing the right thing. But at the end of the day, I think being a good person does go hand in hand with being a great father. We've had people in prison. They find prison, and sometimes people wait till they go to prison to find God. They go to prison and they find their kid. But, you know, at that time, you know, just setting that example and being that standard, man, I think is what's required. I really do.
Yeah. Agreed. Good stuff. Let's flip it a little bit. I want to ask you, if you could think about it, and if anything comes to mind, what is your most embarrassing dad moment? Most embarrassing dad moment, if you got one. I'm gonna say this now, Danny, you got 22 years in the game, and you a girl dad, so I know, I know you got something. You got to have
man.
So, anything that you all can think of as your most embarrassing moment thus far?
Ooh. I'm trying to think of the best one. You know, I could tell, and I won't say it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for me and her, for me in front of her. But what I will say is, I remember going. Oh, I'm sorry. Y'all see me?
Yeah, you good.
I remember going to one of her.
Oh, I think we might have lost Danny intermittently. Alvin, you got one while Danny comes back on. You got one?
There too.
Okay, never mind. Here we go.
You got me?
Yeah, you back on.
Okay. Yeah, but anyway, I just kind of dozed off doing one of the little parent-teacher meetings, you know, and several parents there, and I dozed off, and then she woke me up. It was like, you know, Dad, this is embarrassing. You acting like a child. This child is to sleep at my parent-teacher conference. But I was tired. And yeah, so it kind of opened my eyes up to, man, my daughter's really growing up. Oh, wow. You know? So yeah. So it was embarrassing to me for her to have to do that.
Yeah. Makes sense. I see how that could be. How old was your daughter at that point?
She was in the 6th grade.
6th grade. Okay. Oh yeah. Well, she was very aware of
she was in the 6th grade.
Embarrassment and things like that. Good stuff. Yeah. Good stuff. All right. Dada, Alvin, y'all got one?
I'm not, like, my wife says this is embarrassing. I still have no shame. I think, like, my son. So this is the first, bro. I never changed a diaper until my son. That's the first diaper I ever changed in life. So I used to wear gloves when I changed his diaper. Like that was on the first, like, you know, buy some gloves. Cause bro, I mean, I spent 28 years not touching diapers. You want me to be natural? Sorry, bro, I didn't. So I'm not ashamed. Like when I have a second kid, I won't wear gloves again. But bro, I needed some safety.
So you would change diapers wearing gloves?
Yes.
And this was before COVID?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think I'd have to side with your wife on that one. That's a little embarrassing. A little bit. Real men don't mind touching nasty diapers. Alvin, what about you, man? Any embarrassing moments?
I don't have an easy embarrassment moment. The only thing I can think of right now is that currently I cut my boy's hair. And if you've ever tried that, it's difficult. And you know, it's a learning process. And there were a few times I messed them up pretty badly. And they had to go to school like that. Man, my ex-wife told me, say that somebody said something to her about it, actually she needs the name of a good borrower. So I got embarrassed for now.
So okay, so time out. So not only did you mess the boy's hair up, but you didn't even attempt to take him to a barbershop to fix it?
Well, that was the type of thing, you know. Hey man, I was going to see him from out of town, man. You know, I did it on the Sunday. I had to go back to work.
Wow. So okay, so you left your ex-wife and your boys to hold your mistake while you went back and worked in Birmingham. That's what you're saying.
You don't have to put it like that, but yeah. Yeah, I'm saying.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Gotcha. All right. I honestly can't think of one for myself. I'm just a cool parent, you know. I'm just pretty pretty live. I can't think of anything. No, of course I'm lying. The one that readily comes to mind for me is, and I didn't realize I was this intense, man, but anybody who knows me knows I'm competitive, number one. And anybody who has ever been to one of my middle school basketball games knows my mama is intense. So I found my inner Karen Sparks when my oldest started playing basketball.
Oh, man.
And I don't know if it's embarrassing for him per se, but I know for me, I literally had to kind of check myself a few times during the course of a game because I was out on the court coaching the team with the coach actually on the bench already, and I was just like, "Whoa, I'm a little in too deep on this. Let me pull it back." And so that I kind of had to self-correct, man, because you know how you can almost feel like people are staring at you. That's kind of where I was. I was like, all right, let me chill out and sit down a little bit. This is a little out of control. So that might be a little tame to some, and I'm sure as we move on in life, I'm sure I'm gonna have many, and we'll all have many more. But yeah, thank y'all for sharing some of those. Some were a little worse than others, Dada. but it's all good, all good. All right. So as we kind of get into the home stretch of this conversation, we got about roughly 10-12 minutes left. I want to ask you guys this question. Let me ask it this way. What would you say is your fatherhood superpower? All right, what's your fatherhood super? And here's what I mean. What is one thing you feel like you do just exceptionally well when it comes to your children? Don't be modest. This and I know we're all growing and learning and everything, but this is a time where I want y'all to really say, you know what, I really think I do blank pretty well. All right. And nobody's gonna think you're arrogant if you do that.
I think I do a pretty good job of teaching. My boys ask sometimes some grown-up questions, and I think I do a pretty good job of telling them the truth, but on a level that they can understand. It's not too abrupt or too abrasive or too much of a grown-up answer.
Yeah,
I mean, we talk about everything from, buying a house, to buying a car, to I remember one time we passed by the check cashing place. They asked me what that was, and I explained to them what it is, and also tried to explain to them the best of my ability to avoid falling into that type of trap, if you consider it a trap. I think I do a pretty good job of just teaching them about life and things that they may not necessarily need to know at this point in their lives.
Nice, man. It sounds like your kids might be smarter than me at this stage of their life. Just what you just saying that, because I'm like, goodness, man, that's awesome. All right, so Alvin's superpower, parental superpower is teaching. I love it. All right, good stuff. All right, Danny, what about you? What would you say is your dad's superpower?
Motivating my daughter. I think motivating her. I always challenge her, and I always tell her don't settle for less. Always continue to strive to be the best she can be, and we always have conversations about the next move or the next challenge, or just making sure she understands that she got to be better than everybody else. It's just the way it is. So I always try to make sure that when we're in the car together, or we're just doing things, even school, even deciding law schools, anything, I always tell her, always make sure that you're prepared better than anybody else. And, and so I always just keep her motivated, and I always call her and we just give her motivation conversations. And I think just motivating her is really my major superpower with her, just motivating her.
Awesome, man. That's great. Love it. What about you, Dada?
I would say, man, like presence, and I know, that's what
you snuck me, man. You took me.
But no, I really like my son, I'm a light sleeper anyway, but he'll like call for me at 2 a.m. and I'll get up and like and it's like extra grace. Like I'm like, I should be tired, but I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? If we need to play, we'll play. You know, and I like the fact that he'll like be like, Daddy, where are you? You know what I'm saying? Like I like the fact that he'll call on me. And I always want him to know, like, man, if you call on me, I don't care what time it is, like, you know, I'll be there and we can play. If it's 3 a.m, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. And you've been peeking in inside of what I got going on, because I was gonna say the same thing. I think mine is presence. Man, I kind of like the same thing, man. It's amazing how my kids know to call me and not my wife in the middle of the night. Not quite sure how that happened, but that's the reality. But I mean, man, I'm you know, we whether it's playing with them, like anybody who knows me too knows that I'm playful. I can be playful. And my kids, man, I mean, we play a lot. I mean, whether they call themselves involving me in a quick impromptu game of hide and seek, or we're wrestling or something. It's just I'm just there. And so I think the one thing that I do well, and this isn't, like I said, none of this is to sound, you know, braggadocious or anything, but I believe like I'm there. I have the ability of being there, present. They know that Daddy is here. He's involved, and if I need him, he's right there. And so I think that's something I do well, and that's something I pray I get better at doing the older they get. So yeah, so good stuff. So we got presence, teaching, and motivating, all amazing things. So man, thank y'all for sharing that. Couple more questions, man. It's interesting. We had a comment / question from someone on Facebook who said that this conversation is great, and they wanted to know if we could go longer. Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm loving this conversation as well. But of course, we want to keep it to 45, just to respect everybody's time. Don't know what everybody has going on outside of this. And so thank y'all so much for the comments, for the questions, for feeding them. And you know, maybe if we maybe could do something a little bit later on. But we're just gonna operate in the time frame we got right now, and hopefully this has been a blessing to you all who are watching and listening. All right. Last two questions I had. If you had to give advice to other fathers, what would it be? If you had to give, you know, maybe, you know, let's just say one piece of advice to other fathers, what would it be?
I would say be consistent. You know, if you in who you say you're gonna do. If it comes down to telling them they're gonna be punished for doing a certain thing, then you need to hold true to that. And just be consistent about what you say.
Yeah.
Good. That's good. Consistency. That's awesome. All right. Dada, what you got?
I would say, man, make sure, it kind of goes back to the whole being a good person. Like, you gotta take care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that in like a selfish way, but you can't be, I think we're naturally like I think God has wired us with that want to be a protector, want to be a provider. I think that's a good thing. But you can't do that like just out of your own strength. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna burn out, and then when you get frustrated, just even if you don't mean to, you're gonna end up affecting them. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta like take time, whatever that looks like. That's like when everybody's asleep. Like if you wake up early, fine, do it then. If you're more like one of them, when everybody goes to sleep, you kind of take some time, because you gotta do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like whatever that looks like. It ain't gotta be a lot of time or whatever, but I've noticed that, man. Like, it's why like exercise and stuff, like whatever it is, I know for me that helps my mental health. And I'm just better when I step into the space. So I think you got to take care of yourself, and that'll allow you to be that father you want to be. You know what I'm saying?
Nice. So consistency, self-care. What about you, Danny?
Responsibility. Be responsible. You know, understand that with this comes responsibility. Yeah. And it's a lot of responsibility, but it's great responsibility if you do it the right way. Oh, yeah. And knowing that you're nurturing someone young that's going to grow up and be a productive member of society and be a blessing to someone else in their later years. I think it's a lot of responsibility, but take pride in it. Know that you're there for a reason, and know that God trusted you with that gift, and you just nurture it and be there 24/7.
That's awesome. So consistency, self-care, responsibility, being responsible, and all those are great things. And I, I could say, of course, I echo all of those. I guess just to say something different, I would say, if I was to tell other fathers anything, it would just be to not take the privilege of being a dad for granted. Because it's a privilege. It's a privilege, man. I tell people all the time, it's the hardest job in the world, but it's also the most rewarding one as well. And I find myself sometimes, not wanting to do certain things, or wanting to kind of pass the kids off and say, y'all go out there and do such and such. But it's like, hey, they're only going to be this age for so long, and when that time is up, I'm gonna be wishing I had this time to come back to. And so I try to just kind of stay in that place of, what, I don't want to take one moment with my boys for granted, because one, it's not promised, and then two, time flies. I've heard it a lot, and I'm seeing it now in action, man. Time flies. So I just don't want that. I think you should never take the privilege of being a dad for granted. That's what I would say. All right, last thing, and we'll kind of wrap it up on this one. And I think it's a great question to end tonight's discussion on. And that is simply this: what is the biggest lesson you want your children to learn from your life? Not from your lips, from your life. What's the biggest lesson you want your children to learn from your life?
So I'll say, it really, that scripture in John, I think it's like 2nd or 3rd John, where John says, I have no greater joy than to know that my children are walking in the truth. Like, I think honestly, man, that's it, man. Like, cause I think I don't really like career profession wise. And then again, he's so young, but I don't care what he does professionally. I want to work as hard as he can at it, but I don't have like a, go do what you will. But like, to just know, like, man, okay, like he is going to grow up and like just love Christ, and like, and then be like, just really excel at whatever God has given him to do, that he fulfills his purpose. I want him to see that in you. Like, and I think you only can, more is caught than is taught, like you said. So I have to model that, and also pray for that. And then just see him walk in that, like to walk in the truth. That's what I want him to do.
Nice, awesome, awesome. Alvin, Danny, either one?
I would say definitely trust in God and believe in yourself. You got to give glory to God. We wouldn't be anything without God. Our blessings come from him. And along with those blessings, do what you can to work hard to better yourself, and just believe in yourself.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Well, yeah, I would say, do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Don't ever allow anyone to put limits on you. Understand that you're a queen, and you're a queen of the highest, and that you can be whatever you want to be, and that your only aptitude is determined by your attitude. And just make sure, that you're always prepared, that you're always being the best that you can be, and that you make sure that your character stands out amongst everybody else. So again, it's all about motivating her and making sure she understands that the sky's the limit, and she can be whatever she want to be.
Awesome. Great stuff. Thank you for sharing that. I'll just kind of bring up the rear and say, I agree with everything that each one of you all said. And so just to, I think I'd close it out by saying, from my life, I want my boys to grow up and be just well-rounded, just men of balance. I want them to of course, know and love Christ. I want them to know and love people. I want them to never be so heavenly minded that they're no earthly good. I want them to be able to just to not, kind of like what you said, something you said earlier, Dada, not take themselves so seriously, but just to be well rounded, to have their faith on point, and to be people who know how to have fun and just can be relatable, just living well-rounded lifestyles and lives. And I think if they grow up and be like that, then I would consider that a win. And so I just wanted to be well-rounded. And I think that would be one of the greatest things I can pass down to them. And that encompasses everything essentially that you all just said, whether it's faith or believing in self, understanding who they are and whose they are, that kind of thing. So that's what I'd say. All right, brothers, man, this has been an awesome conversation. Thank y'all so much for the time. Thank you all so much for the candor. Thank you for just sharing your heart, sharing just kind of where you are right now, where you've been, praying for our continued grace on this fatherhood race that we're running. And to everybody who's watched tonight, who's been listening in, thank you all so much as well. Thank you for the questions. I pray that something said tonight has been beneficial and a blessing to you. And look forward to continuing to do this, and continue to tune in to 45th Street Baptist Church as we continue in this fatherhood series this month, for the month of June. All right, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And we'll talk to y'all next time. God bless. Have a good night.
Peace.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.